So languages today are largely fake. Uh, I guess they've always been fake. They've never been. There's never been a perfect official language just set down and given to some group of people with all the rules figured out and the grammar. Here's the official grammar. Uh, so all languages are human-made, somewhat managed, and all that. But some languages in the when the coming of with the development of modern nations and the idea that you have to make people of one nation. They have to have a common language. They have to have common heroes. They have to have a shared story. They have to have shared race and things like that. Uh, and so in Turkey, you're going to have Turks. Japan, you're going to have all Japanese, and Armenia is going to have Armenians. Uh, so yeah, Syrian's going to have Syrians in it. Iran's going to have Iranians in it, and they're going to have their. So Iran has the language Persian, and they're going to have that as the national language, and the education is going to be in that, and the nation's going to use that language. And Israel, also a made-up nation, and Hebrew, modern Hebrew, a made-up language. They needed that for the identity of Israel. So Israel has a language, modern Hebrew, which is basically made up, resurrected language. Like we can make Latin alive again, and then that could be an official language for some other country. So. Uh, Yeah. So Turkish. When they changed the Turkish language, they changed the alphabet from the Arabic script. So here's the Arabic script written. This is Subhanallah. That was written by a Chinese calligrapher with a brush. Here's Arabic script. It's some Quran verses. I think it's a South Asian calligrapher. And here is this is from Turkey. So a Turkish calligrapher. It says Allah Jalla Jalaluhu. Uh, right. And this is the old Turkish script, the old Turkish book for kids. So Turkish kids that could read this book, Kaplan. There you go. And this is all this practice they would do to learn deal, zil, deal, shit. So they'd practice all this and learn their alphabet and put it together and learn how to write Turkish. And well, when the Turkish Republic came around, they said, "Oh, our literacy rate is horrible. We're going to drop this bulky Arabic script, and we're going to pick up a new scientific script that matches Turkish." But the thing is, this script matches Turkish just fine. Like the idea that you need a script that has a one-to-one, completely phonetic relation to your language, that's nonsense. That's never been the case until these modern language transformations came about. When you want to speak English, you got to learn how to read. You can't just you have to read a dictionary. You have to constantly learn words. Here's my dictionary I keep around the house, and I'll be reading it for the rest of my life, hopefully increasing my vocabulary and improving my English. But I can still function. If I come across a strange word, I know how to look it up. And in the past, that's how scholars have always been. So Arabs and Turks, and they've looked back in their traditions and they've tried to use words from the past, and they've had dictionaries, they've had other sources that they read. They read famous works, and you would be able to insert lines or references from famous works. So, and so 150 years ago, a Turkish person could just throw in an Arabic line or a Persian line into the writing, and whoever's reading it, also being an educated person, would be able to understand that. Just like today, I have some books in English, and there might just be a line of Latin in it. I'm supposed to understand it. I don't, but there might be some French or German in it, and they don't have to necessarily explain or translate everything. There's some things that are so well known, they're understood. And then we have, in English, you write italics if you want to show, hey, this word is foreign, but we have so many foreign words we've just absorbed, then they become English. We pronounce them the way we do in English now, and they're no longer the original words. So, algebra, alchemy, these from Arabic, but we pronounce them in English ways now, and Avicenna, Averroes, Ibn Rushd, Averroes. So Turkey, when they modernized the language, they got rid of. They said, "Oh, we're going to be modern. We're going to insert French words, and we're going to get rid of these Arabic words." And so they purged the language of many words that were academics used to use, and they tried to replace them with other words. The funny thing today, well, I haven't been in Turkey in 10 years, but educated people in Turkey today, when they want to show off and try to show that they're smart, and they're giving a talk in Turkish, they'll insert a bunch of English words to show that they're educated and smart, or English expressions, or they'll say, yeah, as they say in America, this or that, or as they say, so they insert this and they try to sound smart. Well, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, when Turkish people wanted to sound smart, or even the strangest thing today, so the Turks that are religious, they can use not just English words to sound smart, they can insert Ottoman words, which are just Arabic words. So an Arabic phrase or expression they can insert, or a Persian phrase or expression that isn't so commonly known, but it's still in a Turkish dictionary. They'll use words like that to seem smart. So languages, you got to standardize them. You got to make something like this, and then you can have that as an official. Like this is one model in France. They have official language association. I tell you, this is what French is. And then I had a friend from French Canada. He's from Quebec. He went to France. He tried to buy a ticket. He said billet, which is the French word for ticket. But now the French word for ticket is ticket. So the French guy connects the original French speaker, and he says, it's not billet, it's ticket. And now it's funny, the word for ticket in Turkish is billet from French. Somehow they just threw in the French word. So you got to have a language. You got to simplify it. Chinese language, it's all character based. And their word for love, I love you, it included a character for heart in it. Listening to music, if you want to listen, the character for listen involved a heart character. And then with the simplification of Chinese, sure, okay, not enough people can read, so we got to simplify, okay. But do we have to take the heart out of, do you have to take the heart out of love? So at some point, the simplification, in my mind, in Turkish, in Chinese, generally, these simplifications of languages, these kind of trying to structure and say this is the official word on the language. These are just ways to control people. They're ways to make institutions that control people. So they're not about freedom. They're not about respecting local cultures. It's just about control, and it's easier to control. So I read a book about the Korean War, prisoners taken by communists in the Korean War, and which is interesting. Turks and Americans were together in Korea, and they were fighting, and so they got captured. And so they're in these prisons. So they thought, hey, we'll put all these prisoners together, the whites, the blacks, the Turks, we'll put them all together, and they'll fight each other. They hate each other because they can't get along. All the prisoners got along. So they're like, you know what, we're going to do a different pattern here. We're going to split up the white prisoners over there with black prisoners over there, Mexican prisoners over there, and we're going to put the Turkish prisoners over there, and we'll brainwash them all in the most effective way. And that was their other method. So that's what we have today. We got Israelis that are brainwashed on Hebrew. They read mostly Hebrew, and they get their image of the world from the modern Hebrew language that they invented, that their government gets to propagandize them with. Same thing with Turkish. They take out, they screw with the vocabulary, they reduce the words, and it's easier for them to, they have control. They say this is officially what's wrong and right. They get to control the population easier. They control the religion. In America, we have religious freedom. You believe what you want, do what you want. In Turkey, they have a Department of Religious Affairs that says, if you're Muslim, do this. If you're Christian, do this. So they never became secular. It's all about control. And it's true. Some people say, hey, that we didn't need this bulky Ottoman language that only bureaucrats understand. Yeah, okay. But you didn't need to artificially change it to try to make it into this modern Turkish nation, which is all made up stuff too. So we're all people, and we're struggling, and we're getting along, and we're here, and we're here to learn each other, and learn from each other, and we have to find a way to live in a world that's not built around, oh, this is my nation, and this is my language that I use in my nation's schools, and my schools use my nation's language, and everyone's in my nation. The problem is there's Armenians that lived in Turkey, still live in Turkey. There's Kurds that live in Turkey. Kurds want a Kurdish state. They want to use Kurdish language. But there's groups within the areas where the Kurds lived, and there's other minority groups that there's Zaza people. They're not Kurds, but Kurds call them Kurds, and they want them to go to Kurdish school with Kurdish government language and all that stuff. So we got to get rid of this nationalism. We have to get some kind of identity that goes beyond, we're human beings. So God bless. Assalamu alaikum. I hope you're all well.